People really don't know what their expenses will be because they don't know how long that they're going to live.
Americans are worried they won't have enough saved for retirement now more than ever.
Retirement is going to cost, for many folks, over $1 million.
Is no sure thing in investing, but a lot of people think that annuities may come close to that.
It's going to more safe things that they know. If they know they're going to need that money to supplement their retirement, well, then you can't play that risk.
This is the Safe Money and Retirement Show with Jon Heischman Sr., founder and partner of Heischman Financial Services, serving the Columbus and surrounding areas. Jon specializes in educating pre-retirees and retirees about safe money strategies and ideas. Now, it's the Safe Money and Retirement Show. Here's Jon Heischman Sr.
Are you ready for retirement? That's going to be my topic for the show, Safe Money and Retirement. I'm your host, Jon Heischman. Welcome and thank you for joining me. Those of you that are getting ready to retire or thinking about it coming up in the future, the best time for retirement is different for everyone. I think personal health plays a huge role in determining the right time for retirement. Job-related stress can be another reason you want to go into retirement. So each individual may realize that they want to donate time. Maybe they want to travel more or spend time with family members. Others even contemplate leaving a job creates a lot of anxiety. Those people are comfortable in retirement, establish a routine, relationships. They're worried about losing professional identity and those social connections and filling the many hours they spent at work. In addition to being a source of ongoing income, working may also provide extended health care benefits. So, the risk associated with retirement have never been higher. In fact, as a life stage, retirement today is arguably more unstable and unpredictable than ever before. Those of you approaching traditional retirement age report there's a number of concerns that are impacting your decision about whether to retire. I experienced this firsthand when meeting with a new client. And many times the discussion is about, are you ready? What are your concerns? So I made a list of them, and at the top is risk of outliving your resources. This is what we call the longevity risk, and is probably on the minds of almost all retirees when they're getting ready to retire. Having to work full-time or part-time to live comfortably in retirement years. Being able to afford escalating healthcare costs in retirement years. Being able to cover their own and spouse's long-term care needs. Staying productive and engaged in retirement. So these concerns interfere with retirees' confidence in their ability to have a comfortable and sustainable retirement. The decision about when to retire, it's never been more important than today. Even those with multiple retirement assets and sources of income will question, are they ready to retire? Then the question comes up, can I afford it? So each individual at this point is going to have to consider the financial side of retirement and ask themselves, can I afford it? It is my job to work with them to determine, can they afford it? The bills, they're going to come in every month, and most will keep coming whether the payer is retired or not. Physical assets such as automobiles, home repairs or condo fees, taxes, and healthcare costs. Very important to look at the health of each individual as far as future medical bills. So, once that guaranteed paycheck stops, are you going to be able to pay the bills and maintain your lifestyle until death? Unfortunately, it is common to find out that financial realities are not in sync with the client's dreams. Now, keep in mind, this doesn't mean that the dreams cannot be realized. It does, however, require a more in-depth evaluation of each individual's budgets. So I just mentioned a word that so many people avoid, and that is budget. It's mandatory that we establish a budget. Even if you're not retired, or whether you are retired, it doesn't matter. It's a continuous thing that needs to be done on a regular basis. Changing your budget, eliminating, adding new items will occur regularly. I have some simplified budget forms because, believe me, it can get detailed. I think a budget needs to be simple, but to the point, and accomplish what needs to be accomplished. Whether you're retired or thinking about retiring, let me know if you would like to receive a copy of the budget forms that I'm going to make available. I wanted to keep it simple and, I guess you'd say, enjoyable, and eliminate that word budget that makes so many shiver. 614-861-7055. That is my office number in Reynoldsburg. Request your copy, and as a radio listener, there's no obligation. And of course, there's absolutely no cost. I'll have that sent to you right away. 614-861-7055. The importance for individuals who are contemplating retirement need to reevaluate their spending. They can no longer rely solely on the conventional wisdom that says they will need anywhere from 70 to 100% of their pre-retirement income in retirement. 70 to 80% or so has always been a rule of thumb in determining retirement income and used for the budget. Today, I feel my clients need to be much more precise. And the only way to get a realistic picture of how much they're likely to spend in the future is to create a retirement budget. Budgeting is the key to determining the amount of money needed to live, assessing whether or not an individual has sufficient assets to maintain their standard of living, and creating a withdrawal strategy that will hopefully ensure their savings is going to last a lifetime. The great thing about a budget, it can help determine whether you're ready to retire from the financial aspect of retirement. The budget is going to change as you enter into retirement and beyond. And in my opinion, it should change and have the flexibility to be able to change because of increased healthcare cost, taxes, and then we also have inflation and how that's going to affect your budget. Those that live within their budget and have sufficient income sources, especially sources of guaranteed income, are going to be so much better off in retirement. If you need help in creating that budget, which will put you on track for the future as far as altering the budget, let me know, because once it's established and you've got that start, it's going to be much easier to alter that budget, which I've experienced with my clients. 614-861-7055. Again, the number to reach me would be 614-861-7055. I'm going to take a short break, but stay tuned. I'll be right back. I'm Jon Heischman with the Safe Money and Retirement Show.
Thanks for listening to the Safe Money and Retirement Show with Jon Heischman. For more information, call 1-888-426-0177. That's 1-888-426-0177. Or visit their website at HeischmanFS.com. More of the Safe Money and Retirement Show in a moment. Thanks for listening to the Safe Money and Retirement Show with Jon Heischman. At Heischman Financial Services, no one is excluded from receiving the help they need. Here's Jon Heischman.
We don't care if you have $50,000 saved for retirement or $5 million. We have no cutoff. As a matter of fact, personally, I feel those that have, let's say, under $250,000 or even under $150,000 in many ways need more planning advice than somebody that has considerable assets available to them at retirement. So whatever the case may be, we're willing to work with you and give your accounts the exact same attention as if you had $5 million.
Call Jon Heischman at Heischman Financial Services 1-888-426-0177. That's 1-888-426-0177. Or visit their website at HeischmanFS.com. There are some gains in life that most folks don't mind losing. Extra weight gained or credit card debt gained. The number of miles gained on your car. But losing your retirement gains is no one's dream. Would you like to retain the retirement money you've gained over the years and at the same time create a paycheck for life in retirement? Then call Jon Heischman at Heischman Financial Services, 614-861-7055. Or call toll-free at 1-888-426-0177. His clients don't lose their gains due to market risk. Their gains are locked in with no exposure to risk. Retain your gains. Losing some of the candles gained on your birthday cake would be great. Or losing some of the strokes gained in your golf game would be a dream come true. But losing retirement gains would be a nightmare. Don't risk it. Retain your gains today. Call Jon Heischman at Heischman Financial Services to find out how. Call 614-861-7055. That's 614-861-7055. Or call toll-free at 1-888-426-0177. Welcome back to the Safe Money and Retirement Show with Jon Heischman. To contact Jon, the number to call is 1-888-426-0177. That's 1-888-426-0177. Once again, here's Jon Heischman.
Welcome back to the second part of the Safe Money and Retirement Show. I will continue my discussion on the decision to retirement. I was discussing budgeting. When I work with a client, I prefer to do a budget prior to retiring, and a married couple should complete 3 budgets, or at least check the retirement income for each situation while they're both alive. If one spouse passes away first, and if spouse 2 passes away first, we've got income and expenses covered under each situation. And this will determine if there is adequate income coming in for the surviving spouse. This is very important, and too many times when I have seen or reviewed an existing budget, I don't see this. Too many budgets assume that both husband and wife will be living throughout retirement. For example, many military retirees decline the survivor benefit and have not purchased adequate life insurance to provide for the surviving spouse, generating income replacement. Again, it is always important to ensure the surviving spouse will have adequate income before deciding to retire. Social Security is another source of income that will affect your budget. When should you take Social Security, and how much is that going to be for the surviving spouse? I always point that out and make sure retirement planning in the budget is going to continue for the surviving spouse. That's a surprise that we don't need and want to prevent. All right, we're going to have normal expenses and potential increases. For some, the retirement budget will look similar to their pre-retirement budget, only now without the employment expenses. I'll give you an example. The workers' 7.65% Social Security tax will go away. Also, 401k contributions will go away. And here's a big one. Many times, retirement means the loss of the employer's health insurance or the amount of cost being subsidized. We have to allow for this, especially those retiring early under age 65. And by the way, that has been a big factor in determining whether an individual is ready to retire. I've worked with many who delayed retirement for several years because of the cost of health insurance. So that needs to be factored into the budget. Many other retirees, they're going to need or want to make budgetary adjustments, like I said earlier, to be able to alter that budget. Leisure time, that means increased spending. Travel, home improvement, money for grandchildren, hobbies, or what I'm seeing more and more today, new business ventures. So we have to understand a client's expectations of retirement, which is an essential part of cash flow planning. And of course, there has to be cash flow, discretionary income, and the budget needs to show that. Another important point of a budget, it is important to review all expenses for the entire year. We want to avoid excluding expenses that are paid once per year, twice per year, like property taxes, or maybe there's a quarterly automobile and homeowner insurance bill. These all have to be factored in, broken down monthly, and will go into the savings account allocated for future expenses. Now we want to practice living on the established retirement budget for a year or maybe 2 years. Then I want to come back to my clients and review how that budget's going. Is it been realistic? What changes do we need to make and modify that budget, making sure that it still works? I want to go back and talk about how a spouse or family can be affected, because for married couples, the retirement decision involves changes. That's going to affect a family. As I mentioned before, so many times addressing this situation becomes a surprise, a huge adjustment, and puts the surviving spouse in a bind. So the question you want to ask yourself, if my spouse survives me, will they continue to receive income? An early retirement package may make no provision of this. Qualified accounts, IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, by law, must provide the survivors of married participants to sign off on the decision that is made to take income. There's options, and we have to address the options, taking the spouse into consideration. Most employees will have group term life insurance along with other fringe benefits. If this protection is still needed, as in the case of the prospective retiree with young children or a surviving spouse who will still have an outstanding mortgage, we have to check to see if the client can either convert the group plan to an individual plan or possibly replace it on purchasing an individual life insurance contract at a reasonable cost. Both situations have to be looked at if life insurance is needed. Medical coverage of dependents is generally available for employees covered by group plans. If the employee loses this coverage through early or even normal retirement, how will the dependent's medical insurance be handled? So you can see there is much more in making that retirement decision than determining just income. Longevity has created a problem in the income plan, which is part of the budget, unless that income is guaranteed. And I want all my listeners to be aware of all sources of guaranteed income. I always welcome the opportunity to help in any way, answer questions. address your concerns, whether we meet personally in my conference room or at your home. Maybe it's a phone call you'd prefer. And I'm also referring to those that are retired, because many times a couple of simple adjustments can be made that will make your retirement more secure. And that's what it's all about. My number is 614-861-7055. Visit my website, HeischmanFS.com. I'll spell that for you. HeischmanFS.com. Thank you for tuning in to the Safe Money and Retirement Show. And don't forget to request your copy of the budget form I'm offering. No cost, no obligation. And if you need help completing your budget, you can let me know. Thanks again for tuning in. I'll be back next week bringing you the Safe Money and Retirement Show.
The Safe Money and Retirement Show with Jon Heischman Sr. To get in touch with Jon, call 1-888-426-0177. That's 1-888-426-0177. For more information about Heischman Financial Services, visit their website, HeischmanFS.com. That's HeischmanFS.com. Join us again next time for the Safe Money and Retirement Show with Jon Heischman Sr.